Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, March 14th, 2021. Ashland Locke and his money have arrived. I'm loving it. I am loving this guy. I'm loving this guy. I'm loving this story. Are you loving it? I have got to start us out with a poll question on this topic. The Ashland Locke story. Are you loving this like me, or are you ready to leave it? YRChat.com. I cannot wait to get your first impressions of our new story and our new character. Now, I know that you guys are thinking, oh, Allie, you just love these business stories. And that is true. I do love a good business-centric story. But I also think that this one in particular has the backing of a good, strong, new character too. Ashland Locke had me immediately from the moment that he wandered into the lobby of the Grand Phoenix Hotel, waving his dollar bills around, waiting for Kyle to take his luggage like Kyle was the bellhop. I said, okay, I'm in. You got me. By the way, that's the second time recently that I've seen money, real cash money being used on the show. What's up with that? We never used to get that in the past. I thought it was a cue-in with Jack and Sally's relationship because Jack was the first person who we saw waving around the dollars. But I am thinking now this is just a nice little new facet of the show that is making it seem more real. We talk about money all the time, but we never see it. Now we are. I think it's great. I think that Ashland Locke is great. I think that Richard Burgi, the actor who plays Ashland, whose name I am sure that I am mispronouncing. I'll call him Richard. I'm sure that I won't get that part wrong. He's done a lot of work. As soon as I saw him, I had to go to his IMDb page to find out more about him because he looks like someone who I've seen a million times, but I couldn't put my finger on exactly where I would have seen him. But he's done a lot of work. His IMDb page is a mile long. He's been on Days of Our Lives. He's been on General Hospital. He's been on Seinfeld. Maybe that's where I remember him from. But I think he's great, and I think he's giving us a pretty convincing performance. He seems polite, but I can see that monster just sleeping and waiting beneath the surface. Because Jack told Kyle a story about Ashland Locke this week and how Ashland Locke, just like a 1990s Victor Newman, was a business guy who owned a big conglomerate company who tried to do a takeover of Jabot. But John Wayne Abbott rode in to save the day, saved Jabot from Ashland Locke's clutches, and paid off every cent of debt in order to prevent that takeover. I like that tie-in. It's very good, and it also creates a lot of good, solid anticipation for me. I like that Ashland has not come into town with his fangs out, but yet the audience knows now to not forget that those fangs are there. That's anticipation. I love that. Ashland already seems to have an agenda, although we don't know what it is. For a guy who is selling a company, He certainly does like to get personal with the people and the players who might be his buyers. He was listening to everyone's pitch, but he was also really digging in on everyone too. Digging in on Billy, asking Billy about his previous gambling addiction, asking Adam about the expose article that everybody knows about, and perhaps most intriguingly, seeming like he was about to give Victoria's butt a squeeze on the way out the door. Since we have a bidding war going to buy this media company, Cyaxaries, let's talk a little bit about our bidders, our pitchers. Now, if they win this bit of business, Adam has agreed to run Cyaxaries for and with Victor. I, for one, love Adam walking around like he's Victor Jr., walking around like he's Victor's shadow these days. I cannot get enough of it. From now on, everywhere that Victor goes, I want Adam to be right there beside him and vice versa. To the bank, Adam and Victor. To the lawn and feed store, Adam and Victor. Out for Taco Tuesday, Adam and Victor everywhere. Together, forever, always, please. Excellent. Excellent. Now, Victor and Adam did not know that they were competing against Victoria on this deal. She swooped in at the last minute, telling Nikki and later Billy that she's getting in on this deal not just because it's a good deal, and also that it puts her into the position of accepting Victor's challenge, his newest challenge, to be the Newman child who comes out on top. But Victoria also wants to buy the company to stop Adam and Victor from getting it and using it to crush Billy. How selfless of Victoria. She wants to rescue Billy. And when Billy confronted Victoria about that, saying, I don't need to be rescued, first of all. Second of all, you said you were done rescuing me. What's up with that? Victoria admitted to Billy that she still loves him. Now, I think we all knew that. I think we could all see that. But I have to tell you, I am not feeling the Billy and the Victoria. She did not have any interest in him until he started being happy with Lily. And I would way rather see Billy and Lily continue all the sexy sizzle that they have got going on right now without a jealous, bitter ex-wife in the picture. I'm ready and have been ready to see something new and empowering and fascinating and fun for Victoria. I want to see Victoria move on with someone new. And dare I say it, could it be Ashland Locke? Ooh. Well, I don't know. He and Victoria probably would have a lot in common. And yeah, he's married. But what if Ashland turns to Victoria after he finds out that his wife had an affair on him with Kyle and then lied to him about their child? Dare I hope, dare I hope, dare I get too attached to Ashland Locke? It seems dangerous for me because I'm sure that Y&R will turn around and cut him soon. He will probably turn out to be a creepo or something who's like inappropriately pawning at Victoria while she's just trying to get this business deal done. Although, side note, I think that could be an interesting case study about women in the workplace, but I don't want to see that for Victoria. I really need to see Victoria be happy. And if she's going to be happy with someone, I'd like it to be someone new. But I think that Y&R is still in a position at this point where they could take Ashland in any direction. He doesn't have to be a bad guy. I mean, we're only at the beginning of who this guy is. And I tell you, I would just rather it be a new beginning than going back to the past with Billy and Victoria. Billy and Lily are doing so well together, personally and professionally. Jack, rather cheerfully, agrees to fund the ChanceCom bid for Cyaxaries, which seemed a little out of character for Jack to me. Shelling out some money for Billy to pursue his newest idea, his newest big idea. Usually Jack is pretty wary of the things that Billy wants money for, but I guess having Lily in the room as another adult makes up for that. Lily's adulting in the room makes up for Billy and any qualms Jack might have about Billy. Although, I don't know, I think that Lily's judgment could be a little cloudy lately from all of that broom closet sex that she and Billy have been having, which Jack totally clocked. It has to be because of Sally that Jack is feeling extra laid back these days, because he also walked in to Billy and or Lily's hotel room to listen to their pitch, a pre-pitch for Ashland Locke. And while they were like, they had just tucked in their clothes from a sex session and Jack walked through the room. Lily was still tucking in her dress after sex when Jack walked into the room. Who wants to sit in a little hotel room and listen to a business pitch right after someone just had the sex? No, thank you. I'm gonna need to air it out in here or take it to the lobby. No, thank you. And I'm not cool with like you still fixing up your clothes and tucking in your shirt while trying to have a conversation with you. I find it very difficult that Jack would be okay with that. But I liked hearing the pitches, though. I really, really liked the pitch episode and the way that it set up anticipation for who's gonna win this bid. The very end of, I think it was Wednesday's show, they did this triple frame where it just seemed like the scenes and the players were just transitioning effortlessly between each other. On your marks, all set, let the games begin. That was a very, very cool effect. Yeah, I think it was the end of Wednesday's show. I'm liking it. I'm loving it. I'm back in on all the Y&R goodness right now. I mean, it really made me think to myself, well, whose pitch would I pick? I felt like they were pitching to me. Whose pitch would you have picked? Would you have gone with Adam and Victor, Victoria, or Lily and Billy? I'm leaning toward Lily and Billy. I like their casual yet professional style, but I also liked the way that Billy mentioned to Ashland that the Newmans are always at each other's throats. So think about that before you sell to them. But there is no friction at ChanceCom unless you count body friction. Because Billy and Lily are doing it all over the place. It is like reckless abandon meets hip young professional. I love it. I don't even know how it's possible that Lily and Billy are bringing this much sizzle. Even when there's no physical intimacy on the show, they are on fire. From a safe and responsible social distance, though. For last week's poll question, I asked you guys, should Kyle fight for his son, or should he leave well enough alone when it comes to Ashland and Tara and Harrison? Now, I guess it's not surprising that 67% of you said you want to see Kyle fight for his son. We like the drama. We like the action. But But 33% is still a pretty strong vote of people saying, I think he should back off, leave well enough alone. And early in the week, that's exactly what Kyle told Summer that he was going to do. He was not going to poke the Loch Ness Monster, and more importantly, he was not wanting to disturb the only life, the only world, and the only father that his son knows. But as soon as Ashland Locke walked through the door, treating Kyle like he was the bellhop, waving his money around, treating Kyle honestly like he was the hired help. I think that might have changed Kyle's opinion on what he should do. I felt like I could see his mind start to turn a little bit, that maybe this isn't the type of environment he would want his son to be raised in. Maybe it's not a happy, healthy family. Maybe I don't want this guy raising my son. Now, Kyle didn't say any of that, but I get the feeling that it was on his mind. And it also didn't help that Sally zeroed in on Tara almost immediately when she got into town. I mean, Tara had a 5-minute downtime in the lobby, and Sally was right there to pounce on her. Tara's just along for the business trip with her husband, hoping to get a massage, and Sally really gets up in there, starts befriending her, complimenting her, asking her about her Parisian shoe line. And if some information were to slip out about her and Kyle, so be it. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Tara seems very much invested in keeping this secret. She doesn't want to have anything to do with Kyle. She doesn't want to talk to Kyle. She doesn't want to talk about Kyle. She is acting like she doesn't even know him. She just met him today. Ooh. But it is a dangerous game. Kyle saw Sally schmoozing Tara at Crimson Lights. Kyle confronted Sally about it, and Sally told him he better back off of her because she can go to Ashland and Tara and tell them anything and everything that she knows at any point. If Kyle doesn't leave her alone to pursue her relationship with Jack, she might do just that. Ooh, the blackmail never ends. Sally says, you leave me alone, Kyle. She likes Jack's snowballs, and she wants to see where they go. How about that Jack and Sally kiss? Or forget the kiss. Did you see that thing she was doing with his ear? I haven't done that since I was a teenager. The Madagascar tongue tunnel twister, is that what they call it? Just kidding, I don't know what that is. I made it up. And I don't know whether or not I'm mad or grateful to COVID for forcing that kiss to take place off screen. I haven't decided yet if I wanted to see it, but the look on Summer and Kyle's faces when it happened, that tells me that that kiss must have been something else. Oh, it was a nice little trick. Jack just moving across the screen Sally's way, and then the shot of Summer and Kyle's shocked faces, and then Jack coming back to his seat with lipstick on his lips, smeared all over his lips. Sally's red lipstick smeared all over Jack's lips. Ooh. Scandalous. Sally and Jack's kiss, and Sally and Jack's relationship at this point almost seemed to be happening out of defiance in a way, at least in part, because they kissed because Jack basically said, well, hey, let's give them something to talk about. How about love? They want to stare at us? Let's give them something to talk about. I wonder what Peter Bergman is thinking and saying about this May-December romance for Jack. Does he like playing Jack, getting involved with this younger woman, or does he feel uncomfortable about it? These are the questions. These are the questions. Does anybody know that? Has Peter Bergman spoke out at all about this? That would be so interesting. Oh, well, Jack has had a lot of ladies in his day. A lot. Which, again, I think is evidence that Jack Abbott can give as good as he gets. He is no naive spring lily over here. I think he knows what it looks like to manipulate someone because he's done it himself. And even if he is being manipulated, it almost is a fun little twist on his character. It almost would be some nice comeuppance for his character considering all the things that he has done. It's reminding us of Jack's history, this relationship with Sally. I liked Jack and Sally's conversation about his past relationships with Diane and Phyllis. Those were two major relationships in his life. One, Diane, was wooed away by Victor, and the other, Phyllis, cheated on him with Nick. So, in some ways, Jack has been waiting around for his true love for a long time. Maybe Sally is the one? Or maybe Jack will still be waiting around for his true love long after Sally's bright red lipstick has faded from his lips. And here I was afraid that Sharon and Ray's first marriage counseling session would be a bore. But Ray passing out afterwards really capped off the counseling and the week quite nicely. Oh, Ray, you poor fool. I suspect that Ray willed himself into a dramatic fainting just to get Sharon's sympathy. I would rather die than let Adam have you. Nah, just kidding. I don't know. I don't even know what's up with that. I heard someone say that Ray has been poisoned. My first thought was heart attack. The way he was sweating and seeming cold, I thought maybe he was having a heart attack. That seemed to make sense. I don't know. Poisoning, though. You know I don't like spoilers. So I've been trying to steer clear of having too much information about what exactly happened to Ray. But if Ray was poisoned, that sure doesn't look good on Sharon. That might make it look like Sharon just kind of wanted him out of the way. That sure would make Sharon look suspicious. And Sharon's bipolar disorder has suspiciously been brought up out of the blue again this week. In an odd way, I am glad that Sharon's bipolar disorder has been brought up again for a couple of reasons. I mean, it played a really big part toward the end of her relationship with Adam, and it also gives us this interesting new mystery element to follow, because early in the week, Sharon cannot find a figurine that Adam gave her during that time when she was not yet diagnosed with her bipolar disorder. It went missing. She couldn't find it. Sharon had a flashback of the time when Adam gave the figurine to her so that we could see the meaning of the item. And I just loved simply the idea of using that physical object to flash us back into a new memory. It's a memory for her, a new memory to us. Sharon looked so beautiful in that fuzzy pink sweater with the soft, unfocused lighting. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then later, a tray that Adam gave her was also missing from the cottage. I tell you, with so many knickknacks crammed all over that place, it's no wonder that things keep disappearing. They're just slipping away into the abyss and amongst all of Sharon's crap, her beautiful, beautiful crap. I love it. I love this part. I think the missing trinkets are I think it's a great technique for more than just the mystery. I was also pleased this week that Y&R was using them to start to remind us of Sharon and Adam's history and the reason that Sharon is so drawn to Adam right now. We needed to be reminded of what Sharon and Adam's story was, not just make Sharon look like she's drawn to him like he's a drug for no inexplicable reason. We need to know the reason why Sharon is suddenly so willing to risk her brand new marriage with the perfect man, risking her life with the perfect man for Adam. She's definitely still trying to preserve that life with the perfect man by going to the marriage counseling, but yeah, that was a little harder than I think Ray specifically anticipated. I'm really enjoying this. I like the little trinkets. I'm wondering to myself, where are they disappearing to? Where are the trinkets going? Sharon approaches Adam and asks Adam if he's been breaking into her house and stealing these things, because Adam would be the one who knows the history of these items. To any other person, it just looks like another tchotchke in the sea of junk at Sharon's home antique store. When Adam denies taking the trinkets, even asks Sharon why she would still be holding on to them, she switches streams pretty fast and starts to think that maybe Faith stole the knickknacks and that maybe Faith has bipolar disorder, just like her mom. Oh, stealing things was an early symptom that Sharon was displaying before she got properly diagnosed. I like that little extra bit of suspicion on Faith, but I don't think Faith is the one behind any of this. And I am trying to be careful to tread lightly around Sharon's bipolar disorder because it was such a dark time for her character. It was one of my least favorite periods of Y&R. I don't want to go back there, and I am worried, but predicting, that Sharon might start to think that she is slipping. That Sharon might start to think that she's the one doing it and not knowing it because it's Chelsea who is totally the one who is gaslighting her. The other person who was around around the time of Sharon having her bipolar disorder start to creep up. Chelsea was around too. It was Adam and Sharon and Chelsea. Chelsea would know that those things came from Adam. Chelsea would know. Chelsea could be creeping around, stealing things from Sharon's house, possibly poisoning Ray to make it look like Sharon's guilty. Yes. Chelsea's secret plan. Chelsea's on the mend. She made a full vocal recovery in one episode. I was like, wow, she's talking now? She's chatting with Chloe like it's high tea time. And demonstrating that she can even walk now. It's Chelsea. Chelsea has another secret meeting with Chloe to show how she's been hiding her secret progress and to talk about her secret plan for getting revenge on Adam. And this time, the meeting that Chelsea has with Chloe includes a secret duffel bag. Might that secret duffel bag be crammed full of knickknacks from Sharon's house? If Chelsea can talk, then she can walk, She can walk, she can talk, she can certainly Uber her way on over to the ranch, sneak around, steal Sharon's stuff, and try to make Sharon think that she's going crazy. I think that's it. And I also think that Chelsea has some kind of side plan going to get herself a new secret identity at the end of all of it. I think she's going to try to change her identity, run away with Connor. She's going to try to pin all of some bad stuff on Sharon for revenge on Adam, and then run away with Connor with a new identity. Because when Chloe looked in that duffel bag and asked Chelsea what she was up to, all Chelsea really said was that she wanted payback, and also to ensure that she could walk away from Adam at the end of this and he wouldn't be able to follow. So I think she's going to try to pin something happening to Ray on Sharon and Adam, as if maybe they planned it together, and then she's going to just like disappear with Connor. Wouldn't it be ironic, though, if Chloe was the one to stop her? Bring her back to her senses? I think that's what is going to happen, because Chelsea tells Chloe that she has a secret, but she has not told Chloe anything about what her plan is, the reason she's keeping her recovery a secret. But Chloe knows that something ominous is going on here. She recognizes the signs. It takes one to know one. And Chloe tells Chelsea she spent years wanting revenge on Adam, and it almost cost her everything. And probably should have cost her everything, but she didn't want to see Chelsea go down that same path. Although, on the other hand, there's also the possibility that Chloe will be totally up for helping Chelsea. I bet it's certainly a possibility that Chloe will be willing to help Chelsea enact some larger bits of trickery to help make Sharon think that she's losing her mind and maybe frame her for Ray's murder. Lola made an appearance this week. Supergirl herself, future Supergirl, had some wisdom to impart to Faith, which was actually some pretty good wisdom. It was a very good strategy for dealing with online bullying. Block, report, and ignore. I'm sure that seems like it's probably something that's it's probably widely educated in that way. Block, report, and ignore. That's very good. It's an actionable plan. It's simple. You can remember it. That's great. I really liked that. I almost kind of wish Y&R would have leaned on that a little more. We've spent so much time inside of this online bullying story, and that right there is quite a succinct strategy for dealing with a big problem. Well, Lola apologized to Faith about the Adam and Sharon photo. She did not want Faith to feel like she was being watched in a public place, which, although almost kind of seems like that's still happening. But that's a terrible feeling, though. Like there's someone watching you and your whole family, too. That was an eerie moment right there. But Lola was very reassuring, and I hope that this won't be the last time that we see her, although I imagine it's just a matter of time. I have a feeling that she's not necessarily going to be able to balance a major role like Marvel's Supergirl with The Young and the Restless. There's probably a lot of physical stuff she's going to have to do and learn on top of the lines. I mean, a major movie production is probably going to be something that takes her away. And I also wonder if Faith is going to be taking a break for a while too. Olivia Allen, I'm probably not saying her name right either, but she's the actress who plays Faith has been cast in a new series called Chucky. How great's that? Chucky. If I understand correctly, it's a TV series, or an episodic series based on the Child's Play movie series. And I think that's just great. I tell you, those Chucky films hit right at the right time to scare the pants off of me. I was 8 years old in 1988, and you better believe I did not sleep with my dolls after that. No joke. Chucky made me stop sleeping with my dolls. But Olivia seems like she'd be the perfect fit for a horror series because she's so pretty and just so nice looking and nice seeming and very unassuming. But for what that means for the character of Faith, I don't know. I think it's certainly possible for her to film a TV series while still maintaining a role on Y&R. They are so creative about their filming schedules these days. I mean, she could film all of her Y&R scenes in advance, be gone for 2 months, 3 months working on a TV series, and viewers probably wouldn't even notice a gap. So I don't necessarily think that means that Faith is leaving forever, but it is possible. That would be disappointing. I'm really starting to get used to Faith. I'm really starting to like Faith. I'm really starting to become very interested in her and who she is and what she's going through. Faith is back in school, and the bully who put the vodka in Faith's locker has been suspended. Faith was telling the truth. Seems like the bullying storm has just quietly died down in the background of our story. Faith is moved back in with Sharon, and now she has a new challenge. She's getting these more big blue bubble text messages from a friendly, anonymous boy, so it seems, some boy who is very impressed with the way that she stood up to her bullies by telling her parents about them. And I don't know what to make of this because I feel ominous. I feel afraid. I feel hopeful that it's not bad, but I feel afraid that it is bad because this mystery person could be good or bad at this point. Whoever it is, they seem to be pumping Faith up. They seem to be giving her a lot of compliments, going out of their way to make her feel good about herself, and that makes me suspicious that someone nefarious could be trying to build up trust with her. And that maybe it's someone who doesn't deserve her trust. It just, something about it has a little bit of a stalker feel to me. It doesn't feel innocent, but on the other hand, it could certainly be something innocent and harmless. Could be someone harmless. The other thought that I had was, is there any chance that this mystery boy could be a character that we've been promised is going to be showing up on the scene for weeks now? Is there any chance that the mystery boy could turn out to be Moses? I am very disappointed in Devon. Devon, I am very disappointed in you. Devon, we need to talk. I am very disappointed in you. I'm glad that he's being honest with himself about his feelings for Elena. That's a refreshing change. But he is officially being dishonest with Amanda about it. He and Elena met up this week to talk about their feelings, and instead they ended up curled up together in that fuzzy blanket of his, naked on the couch. I want to give him a chance to fess up, but if his emotions and feelings for Elena and Elena's emotions and feelings for him are so strong that they cannot have a full conversation together without ending up naked, then maybe they should just be together. Elena can deal with her insecurities about Amanda. Devon can pick someone. Like, it's not unusual to love more than one person. But you gotta pick one. It's that we've decided you gotta pick one. Society has decided you get one. So pick one. Devon and Elena did the deed. They decided to part ways and meet up again later to really talk. Not sex talk, not the talk that turns into sex. They need to really talk this next time to decide if they are really going to be able to get back together or not. But no matter what they choose, I'm fine with whatever Devon's choice is. But no matter what they choose, if Devon, if he does not tell Amanda what happened with Elena this time, I'm going to be ticked off. He did not tell Amanda that he accidentally slept with Elena once. But he had better tell her now, or I'm afraid she's going to end up finding out when Elena turns up pregnant. That would be a terrible way to find out that Devon slept with Elena if Elena turns out pregnant. Devon has been caught between new love, blossoming love, and old love, maybe deeper love, for weeks now. I'm glad that we finally got him to make some emotional progress on what he wants. I was glad to see him talking with Abby, actually being friends with Abby, not just saying that he's friends with Abby. That was nice. I mean, Devon hasn't really had a friend. See, I think Nate could be that. Nate could have been that, but all right, I understand there's a good opportunity to build up a rivalry there. I was also liking Nick, though. Nick was a friend of Devon's. He could be given some cool guy advice there. Like, we need a guys' night or something. Nick was friends with Nate and Devon, and now he's not anymore. But I guess I'll take Abby if I have to. Everybody's friends with Abby. Everybody's friends with Abby and so willing to bend over backwards for Abby. But all right, fine. If that's what it takes to get Devon to open up, start exploring his feelings more often. It was nice to see him talking. I thought those were very moving scenes. I mean, I liked just to see Devon getting his internal dialogue out with somebody, but I also think that maybe Abby needed to give Devon some more direct advice, like, yeah, you gotta make up your mind, man. Happy fertilization day! Abby's procedure is finished, and they were able to harvest 10 eggs just in time for Easter. Shall we color them, dye them, write on them with crayons, and then dunk them in the food coloring? Or do you go with the plastic paused version for these eggs where you decorate them with plastic and vinegar? I don't know. We never had those. Those were too fancy. It was crayons and food coloring for me. Maybe Abby's eggs should have glitter. She probably will use a hot glue gun to glue some Swarovski crystals onto her eggs. Oh, boy. So my question is, if they were able to harvest 10 eggs, how many will they actually implant into Mariah? Do they implant all 10? Could Mariah potentially have, like, quintuplets? Is that possible? Now that would be a honeypot. What the heck is a honeypot? I don't understand. My honey comes in a plastic bear. Oh, all right. Well, nice thought. It's been also nice having Ashley around, hasn't it? I do really like having Ashley here. She's looking very fresh, very happy for her daughter. We seem to be rotating between Nina or Ashley being there. I liked Ashley bringing Abby her baby book. It was a nice reminder seeing Abby go through the photos and noting that she was raised by a man who wasn't her biological parent, Brad. And she loved him as if he was her biological parent. And I think that gave her some additional confidence that she can do this. But looking at the book was also a really nice reminder for me that Ashley had, shall we say, an unconventional route toward becoming a mother. Just like Abby is having an unconventional route toward becoming a mother. I mean, Ashley just straight up stole Victor's sperm and had herself inseminated with it. So, hey, at least Abby was willing to ask somebody for their sperm. So, all right, we've evolved. Officially. No grand theft sperm charges will be filed. Good food enhances decision making. Oh, Ashley, we know you don't eat any food. When Ashley said that last week, good food enhances decision making, I thought to myself, I appreciate the thought. I agree with you, but I know that you don't eat food. Oh, I thought that was a fun quote, though. And Nancy, Heather, Jamie, Henry, Lisa115, and Daisy, you guys all guessed that it was Ashley. Well, I have a fun new one for you this week, and as soon as I heard it, I knew there would be no other line. Maybe I can justify it by saying it's a little Eastery chicks, like with chicks. How about this? You can never have too many feathers if you want to fly. There we go. It's like a Easter chick feathers. You can never have too many feathers if you want to fly. Ooh, I love that. If you think you know who said it, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Well, let's take a look at a few of your comments for this week. Jamie says, Devon and Elena's shady sex sessions aren't hot or endearing to me. I find the whole thing to be completely selfish and sleazy on both of their parts. Amanda deserves better, and I hate seeing her get played like this. Yes, I know. I do feel that way too. And even when Elena said, okay, we can part ways, but just so you know, I'm not going to be your side girl. Well, you kind of are at this point at point number 2. At sex session number 2, you kind of are the side girl. She should have been a little more firm with him, because she broke it off with Nate last week. I guess that was all we got of the Nate and Elena breakup. I mean, there was so much build up toward their relationship and the hot burning passion that was happening, everything before they slept together, and we spent a lot of time on them trying to make the relationship work, and then the breakup was 30 seconds long at the very end of last week. But since she's broken it off with Nate, she's done the right thing, realizing that she can't keep Nate on a string if he's not the one for her. It's time for Devon to do the same thing. If that takes a couple more conversations with Abby, then so be it. But if Devon doesn't tell Amanda now, there's a problem. I'm going to give him a chance, because the sex just happened on Friday. So by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he better be having a conversation with Amanda about this, or yeah, I agree. It's just selfish and sleazy. Victoria says, I'm surprised that Elena hasn't ran out and purchased a pregnancy test. Maybe the writers are going to have Amanda become pregnant and then find out about Devon sleeping with Elena. This could create some drama in Genoa City. Oh, you were thinking the exact opposite of me. I was thinking Elena would become pregnant and that would expose what happened between Devon and Elena. But you think that Amanda's the one who's going to become pregnant and then Devon's going to have to tell her. I almost wonder, if Amanda became pregnant, I think that might make Devon not tell her. I don't know. I'm still holding out hope that maybe everybody will get pregnant. The triple pregnancy. Amanda, Elena, and Abby. Everyone can have Devon's baby. It has made Devon look not appealing. Not gonna lie. But, and again, Devon needs something to do. Oh, well, we can't all be Sharon and Ray. Perfect in their perfect marriage, right? Gary says, fit to be tied. Sharon and Ray are getting home counseling at the cottage. Y&R, take your budget cuts somewhere else. The therapy needs to take place in a proper office. White walls for greater clarity only. Sharon already thinks the whole thing is a joke. Family and friends dropping in with muffins, not appropriate. Take your marriage and your problems seriously, people. Get out of the house and get your lives together. Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that it's weird that they did this counseling in home. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Is that more common? I've never had a professional therapy session. Is it unusual for the counselor to come to the home? But I did appreciate the way Sharon was dusting up before the counselor got there. She had to make sure that she ran the white glove along the everywhere, all of the dusty surfaces, all her knickknacks, making sure her house looks perfect because her marriage isn't. And everyone knows it. Oh, Daisy, this is a good point. Sharon said us kissing rather than Adam kissed me during that marriage counseling session. Daisy says Ray needs to divorce Sharon and find someone who isn't pining for someone else. Oh, did she now? Did Sharon say us kissing instead of Adam kissed me? Oh, I didn't even catch that. Well, now that's a little tell, isn't it? I would love to get a peek inside of the counselor's notebook after that session. I'd like to know what the counselor's thinking. I mean, is this the one and only marriage session that's going to end up happening, the counseling session? Because Ray's going to have his heart attack poisoning, and then that's going to certainly put the kibosh on working toward the marriage, right? This was the one and only time, so they weren't going to build a set for that, I suppose. Oh boy, who is stealing these trinkets? Who's stealing the trinkets? Kamna says, I'm wondering if Sharon herself removed the items and doesn't remember. She mentioned her bipolar disorder, which I don't know much about from a clinical standpoint, but I'm wondering if maybe the excess stress is causing her to do these things. It is absolutely possible that Sharon is doing it, that she is stealing it, that maybe she needs her medication to be tweaked or something. I think that's not off the table. Sherrod had an interesting theory. I know this isn't your main theory, Sherrod, but I liked this idea that in a way, I hope that it's Ray who's doing it, stealing the trinkets. That silent type, cool demeanor, but is actually gaslighting Sharon. If it was Ray. I know it's not too, but there is something just entertaining about that in the back of my mind, that it's actually Ray slowly driving Sharon crazy that is appealing on an entertaining but wrong level. No, it's Chelsea, everybody. Superplex says, I think Chelsea's been faking it all this time. She suspected Adam from the very beginning. Her suspicions got the better of her, and that's the reason why she deceived everyone into believing that she was paralyzed. During the evenings, she used the secret passageway of the condo in order to avoid detection. That explains how she managed to break into the cottage without anyone realizing she was gone. Oh yes, let us not forget that that pet house has a secret passageway. That's a good pull. The caretaker who's keeping an eye on Chelsea is really clueless. I can understand that, if I can believe that Chelsea's keeping her progress hidden from Adam, but how is she keeping it hidden from the nurse? You would think that the nurse might detect a little something different going on with her patient. But yes, I agree with you 100%. I believe it's Chelsea. I think she had the stroke. I just think she recovered physically long before. But, you do make a good point that at the point where the doctor said her progress is being stunted by an emotional problem, not a physical one, might be the point in which she did regain her faculties. That was the doctor saying, there's no physical reason why she couldn't be moving around, and emotional. So, I mean, that could be it. That kind of does make sense. So that's a couple good points in there, Superplex. Oh boy, let's switch topics. Ellen says, Sally is digging a bit of a hole here. Jack will not be pleased that she cozied up to Tara and continued to hold the secret about Harrison over Kyle's head. I know she's just protecting herself from Kyle's attacks, but it's messy since it involves Jack's son and grandson. It's one thing for Jack to overlook Sally's past. It's different for him to be comfortable with her keeping secrets like this from him. Maybe Jack will be too smitten with her by the time it all comes out. I just don't want to see Jack sad again. Yes, I know. I feel like Sally's going to be able to dance her way out of it, though. I feel like Sally's going to say, hey, it wasn't my place. I wasn't going to tell you. It was Kyle's job to tell you. And I feel like Sally's going to easily absolve herself from keeping that secret from Jack. I don't think it's big enough to blow up the relationship. But then again, I don't know. We're going to have to find out how in love and how smitten with Sally Jack really is. Here's a good theory. Daisy says, I wonder if Sally is working for Ashland Locke to help him with his plan. Ashland may already know what went on between Kyle and his wife and his son's true paternity. And now he wants revenge. If Billy gets the deal, then choosing him may be part of the plan. Ashland will be on the board of directors. Keep your enemies closer. What better way to get revenge on Kyle than to take down Jabot and the Abbott family? Ashland begins by drawing them all close, then he picks them off one by one, and Ashland will make sure that Tara and Kyle have a front row seat. The takedown will be severe. Oh, this is great, Daisy, because we're all waiting for Ashland to find out. What you're saying is, what if he already knows? Henry says, weeks ago, I was anxious to see what the character would be like that would portray Ashland Locke. He, Richard Burgi, made his debut on Thursday, and I must say I am well pleased. He is great. A real a-hole. Just what Kyle more or less described him to be. It will be interesting to see how the Y&R writing team will develop this storyline. Somehow I think Kyle will eventually play a role in Harrison's life, should something unforeseen happen that would take Ashland out of the picture, an untimely death perhaps. Kyle would have to step up to the plate. That storyline has so many possibilities. If I knew how long Burgie's contract is, that could explain some things or give some food for thought, so to speak. I just don't think that Ashland and Kyle could coexist if the truth comes out about Harrison. But it would be fun watching them try, wouldn't it? I mean, I'll tell you, I still would rather have kept Theo as a challenge for Kyle, but Harrison definitely presents some new possibilities. Maybe that's the real reason that Theo had to go. It sort of hinted a little bit that maybe Theo and Victoria could have a thing going on. I almost think that they just decided to get rid of Theo, replace him for someone older who would be a potential match for Victoria, and then also just use him to go at Kyle, that replaces Theo, insert him into a bunch of new storylines, because that really could have been Theo. I mean, they could have had an opportunity to make Theo wildly rich from Dina's will. So it just almost kind of feels like maybe Ashland is filling the Theo gap here. I still think it has some really great potential. I feel like I would have rather had Theo, but all right, I'm gonna take Ashland. Well, on the poll question where I asked you if Kyle should fight for his son or if he should back off and leave well enough alone, Tony says, I voted it's better to back off for now. Bring in Kyle's son in a few years when Kyle is in a solid relationship and his son is in his 20s. a few years when the kid's in his 20s. Sherrod agrees, saying, I say let it be. If Kyle pursues a relationship with his son Harrison, he will risk putting himself and everyone he knows in the line of fire. The boy has a father that he's known for 3 years. Do we need to uproot a child's life if they're happy and stable? If this was not the case, I'd say, go get your son. But to traumatize and confuse a child because you are mine, to me, would be a selfish act on Kyle's part. Now, later in life, if the child had real questions about who they are for some reason, then the parent should provide a true answer. Yes, I think that's probably the rational reason for not deciding to blow up the secret. I think a lot of us are just kind of we're voting because of, we want the drama. Marianne V says, I think Kyle will fight for his son, and Summer will stay by his side, and eventually Jack will find out too. I think so too. And by the way, I like that Summer is staying by his side. I'm glad that this has not presented a challenge for Kyle and Summer's relationship yet. Celeste says, Kyle just takes that young lady's word for it that the baby is his? Unreal. Yes, that is a good point, that Kyle just seems to be assuming that Tara is telling the truth. From what I understand, there was no paternity test. There was no DNA test. Tara just knows she wasn't sleeping with Ashland at the time when the baby was born, or conceived, I'm sorry. So if Tara knows that she wasn't sleeping with Ashland at the time that the baby was conceived, then why doesn't Ashland know that? Why wouldn't Ashland know that? Maybe it's back to Daisy's point that he does. He certainly would remember not having sex with his wife for a long period of time, but then again, he's a busy guy. Victoria says, I like the drama that would ensue with a fight. In the real world, I'd tread more lightly, but in the soap world, it'll set up a new rivalry. The Abbotts versus the Lockes. Jack will understand how conflicted Kyle is because of his mistaken paternity. He will advise Kyle to seek visitation and or partial custody. Ashland Locke will go after Jabot and try a hostile takeover. All the Abbotts could be in his sights and have their worlds rocked. The question is, will Victor and Adam side with the Abbotts or help Ashland crumble Jabot for good? I can't wait to see Jack jump in on this fight. Yes, I mean, we know there will be a fight. And I don't know exactly who's going to instigate it or exactly how it's going to shake out, but I am very interested to see Jack go toe-to-toe with this guy. I mean, I just think there is a lot of potential here. They've woven the character of Ashland Locke in such a way that he has interactions with many different people. He has potential to have a lot of different story. It's far-reaching. I think it's been nicely blended, his entrance, with the rest of the show. Diana says, Y&R wants to give us, the viewers, the hint that Ashland may be an unfaithful husband. This realization may be what further drives Kyle to do the right thing and claim his son. Kyle would want his son to be raised by a man who is respectful and faithful to his young son's mother. Kyle had mentioned to Summer that a part of him didn't want to be selfish and interfere with Harrison's life, as Ashland is the only father his son has ever known. But Kyle may change his mind if he feels that Harrison is not being raised in a happy, healthy home environment. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, that it does almost seem like the implication that Ashland was totally ready for a quick hookup with Victoria gives us a little insight about his character, that maybe he's not such a nice guy, maybe the home life is not so happy, and that is something that the viewers will see now and Kyle will see later. Oh, well, Sherrod answered the question. Was Ashland hitting on Victoria? And Sherrod says, Ashland was hitting on Victoria. I didn't see him asking the other two teams out for dinner. Because it's funny, Sherrod, because I watched that scene too, and I was like, is he hitting on her? And you put it very nicely. He wasn't asking anybody else out for dinner, just Victoria. Superplex says, I think Ashland is such a creep that if Victoria doesn't sleep with him, he will refuse to sell his company to her. I'm worried about that too. I'm worried that it is entering into creepy territory. I would much rather it enter into new romance territory, where it's, Victoria, turn your back on the life you had with Billy. It didn't work out. Start something new. But I know we haven't been told very nice things about Ashland Locke, but at this point, Victoria is not particularly nice either. Maybe they'd be two peas in a pod. Lisa115, about the non-niceness of Victoria lately, says, I don't get what the writers are trying to do with Victoria. Are they trying to show that because she's a female version of Victor, she will never find a man who can love her for who she is? Watching her be so jealous and vindictive toward Lily is just hard to watch. I would much rather see her embroiled in the drama with someone new. Ray, Theo, anyone at this point. Than hanging around Billy and Lily where she's not wanted and acting desperate and insecure. When she had her State of Victoria moment a few weeks ago, I was hoping that she would move on to someone new. But No such luck. Victoria deserves to find some happiness of her own and leave Billy in the dust. This is an interesting point, Lisa 115. What happened to the state of Victoria? What happened to Victoria's evolution? She's evolved backwards. That big revelation seemed only to have given her the awakening that she loves and wants Billy. Well, it's a little late for that, and I agree with you. I'd rather see her with someone new. I still think it's possible that Y&R could shape Ashland Locke into a romantic interest, a good romantic interest for Victoria at that. I wouldn't mind seeing Victoria and Ashland, if he's an alright kind of guy. I wouldn't mind seeing them two team up against Victor and Adam. Yeah, leave Billy in the dust, like you say. Well, Robbie says this week's episodes have actually been pretty good. I'm totally into the main business storyline. The corporate stuff that Y&R leans into has always been interesting, and I like that we're seeing everyone's competitive side. Side note, I loved Victoria calling Nick the prettiest Newman. How many times do you think Victoria has had to fend off guys making comments like that? She is beautiful. She is powerful. She's got everything that any man would want, except Billy. But yes, I thought that was a really good way that she shook off that comment by saying, well, Nick is the prettiest Newman. Like, she didn't give it much time. She's dealt with this. There's no way that as a woman in power in that environment, mostly surrounded by men at these types of meetings, I'm sure, that she hasn't had to deal with comments like that a lot. So I thought that was a good moment. I wonder if Y&R is going to make that a bigger part of the story. Either way, it is absolutely fascinating, and I agree that I love seeing everyone's competitive side. I loved that little funny moment with her. Ellen says they must have brought a comedy writer in. I have noticed a definite uptick in funny lines and funny moments lately. It's great. Nick being the pretty one with such a good zinger coming from Victoria. It is true too, because Nick has got the prettiness, but he don't got the brains. But hey, Sharon says yes, they have a new writer on staff. Her name is Susan Banks. She's been with CBS previously, then went on to other networks and has come back to work on Y&R. Her first script credit started on Monday, March 1st, 2021. So, wow, we actually do have a new writer. Susan Banks. Well, oh my, welcome to the team. Welcome to the team, Susan Banks. If you're the one who's given us these comedy zingers and this awesome new business storyline, then I would like to personally tip my hat to you. Okay, my Y&R friends. It has been a good week. I hope the majority of you enjoyed it and that you're going to vote yes in the Ashland Locke poll. But if you weren't feeling it, tell me why you weren't feeling it. I know some people just don't like the business storylines. I get it. I don't know what it is that has appealed to me about those types of stories. I just think Y&R's always done a really good job of writing them, but maybe you're not into it, not into it, whichever you choose. Go to yrchat.com to vote in the poll. Leave me your comments. Please do let me know what you're thinking about the show this week and next. I love hearing from you, and you will hear from me again next Sunday. So please come back and we'll chat again about our favorite show. Okay, everybody. I love you. Have a really good week. Bye.